The commitment that we're seeing from certain companies, take Meta, but also Microsoft and Google, the so-called hyperscalers, to invest with such certainty in winning the so-called superintelligence race. Is this the right thing you want to be hearing and seeing?
Yeah, I think it is. This is an exceptionally big money competition. It takes really deep pockets to attract the engineering talent, to get the compute power. Uh, so the big companies are flexing their muscles and showing great commitment, and they're seeing the demand signs thus far that that effort is worthwhile. And I think it's going to continue. And I think we're going to get a really good indication of that here in a few weeks when Microsoft reports their fiscal fourth quarter earnings. They will announce CapEx intentions for their next fiscal year, and I think we're going to see another big increase. Probably not as big as last year, but still a double-digit percentage increase to a number that's north of $100 billion.
So before I dig more into the hyperscale in the AI trade, Jed, with your, more than 2 decades of experience managing money here in large caps, is Apple just one that you have to view in a different manner now, the way in which the company sees future growth?
Yeah, Apple is a defensive tech business for investors. It is not a dynamic growth business, hasn't been for some time and won't be in the future. They're behind in AI capabilities and talent and resources, and that is a concern for investors. But I do think it was kind of interesting that a week or two ago, when word was got out that Apple was considering using Anthropic and OpenAI models more for their customer interactions on the phone, that the stock went up 3 or 4% on that news. The market liked Apple de-emphasizing its own internal AI research effort.
And that was Mark Gurman's reporting as well. So pivot, therefore, to the companies that are committed, that are building the large language models. I know in particular, you think Amazon's a winner here. Why?
I do. I think that their AWS cloud computing business is very well positioned to ride the wave of AI spending. Enterprises are deploying AI tools on their cloud platforms. And I think that AWS, Azure, and GCP all have really outstanding growth prospects, and I guess we should throw Oracle in there as well.
Interesting that Oracle is also navigating a future of more hurdles when it comes to accessing chips by other countries. Think of Oracle, which has been investing a lot in Malaysia, for example, and we understand from reporting here at Bloomberg that maybe the administration is going to make it harder to get your NVIDIA chips into countries such as this without licenses. But I'm also interested more broadly about how any of these tech giants are navigating the current trade environment. We've just had the latest headline out of President Trump that August the 1st is where he's sticking.
Yeah, and I think he said the opposite more or less yesterday. So it's hard to put too much stock in one day's worth of comments from him. But yeah, the big tech companies have incredible advantages. Their balance sheets are incredibly strong. They're producing prodigious cash flow, and they have all the AI capabilities that we listed earlier. So they're ready to flex those muscles. They are ready to pivot and adjust. And I think that they're all really well positioned to succeed. AI is a big money game.
And is it one you want to commit more money to at this moment, Jed? We're basically near record highs.
Yeah, I think for some of them, the answer is yes. Meta valuation is higher than normal. I think maybe that's one where you don't need to rush into it right now. But I think others are, fairly compelling. Amazon, like I said, is our personal favorite. Microsoft has had a huge run-up here in the last month and a half. Maybe no need to rush on that one. NVIDIA, I think, is pretty compelling. Exceptionally strong competitive position with the GPU chips. They just sent out Blackwell Ultra, the first one into the wild last week. That's going to be an incredibly compelling product for enterprises and hyperscalers to put in their data centers. So yeah, there are places, I think, where you can put money to work confidently today in businesses that are AI beneficiaries.
They send it out into the wild to CoreWeave, and we've got the CoreWeave CEO coming on a little bit later in the show. But Jed, last question for you. Is it all about American exceptionalism here still?
Yeah, it's such an interesting investing environment today. We have, I think a fairly moderate growth U.S. economy, but with an AI revolution over here on the side that is very compelling, is going to continue, I think, for quite some time, both the investment and then, the inference demand, the software deployment of these tools. So yeah, I think that the outlook for U.S. stock markets, for tech stocks in particular, is pretty bright.